What's up, everybody? Today I want to talk to you about Fantasy Grounds, one of my favorite virtual tabletop softwares to use. I may be a little biased because I've been using it for a long time since it was Fantasy Grounds Classic. Today we're going to be talking about Fantasy Grounds Unity, or FGU, as I label it in the video, and what it's like in 2022. Specifically, we're going to be talking about what it is, what it can do, why you would choose Fantasy Grounds, what are some of the drawbacks, and is it worth it in 2022? Let's take a look at the website. So again, first we're going to talk about the what. So what is Fantasy Grounds? Again, Fantasy Grounds is a virtual tabletop software. It's made by a small developer group called Smiteworks. Fantasy Grounds itself can run many different RPG rule sets. Dungeons and Dragons, some of the classic older rule sets of D&D, Savage Worlds, Starfinder, Traveler, Pathfinder. You name it, you can do it. In addition to that, it can basically run any type of tabletop RPG that you would like, as long as you know the software well enough. So there are 3 different tiers of download here on the website. If you click into see details, it gives you a little bit more of a breakdown. It's a little confusing, with all of the what it provides you and what it doesn't. But the way that the software works is we're going to start with talking about the Ultimate package, because it gets a little bit easier for me to talk about the others by talking about the Ultimate first. So the Ultimate package, FGU Ultimate, is where you as a DM, you who owns the software, or GM, you who owns the software, you can host the Ultimate game and players can join and play for free. So that means that your players can download the free demo and play off of your Ultimate package for free. So if you are going to pitch in as a group to buy this, then it needs to be under the GM's email address and their login information. Obviously, if you're doing it as a group, you might want to talk about that. But if you are going to buy FGU Ultimate, definitely do it under the person who is going to be the GM. And then the players can download the free demo and join for free. So the Ultimate license is either a $9.99 a month or a one-time pricing of $149. Taking a step down, the standard package, this is a little bit cheaper. So you've got a one-time pricing forever for $39 or $3.99 monthly. Essentially, with the standard package, you can join any game or host a game as a GM for other standard and Ultimate players. So with this, everybody would need to have standard in order to play your game as a GM. So your other players would also need to buy the standard package. Finally, the free demo is what you'd be downloading if somebody else had Ultimate. But each of these versions come with a ton of content, including the 5e rule set and a number of other RPG game systems, including Core RPG, in which is a generic rule set that can be used to play any system. So keep that in mind. The Ultimate package also comes with tokens for you to use for animals, NPCs, monsters, characters, letters. It comes with some standard battle maps. It comes with map asset packs as well, over 260 pieces of art, and many, many different things for you to create your own custom adventure. The standard comes with this as well, but again, the biggest difference between the standard and the Ultimate is if somebody buys the Ultimate package, then nobody else has to buy the standard package. But enough about this on this page. Let's get a little bit deeper into some of the things that Fantasy Grounds is capable of. If you run D&D 5e and you use the Dungeon Master's Guide and the Monster Manual, you may be purchasing these again through the Fantasy Grounds software. Unfortunately, there is no way to apply the code from your existing physical book and get a discount on the purchase. I do think having the digital versions of these available in Fantasy Grounds are worth it because it gives you all of the NPCs from both of the books. You can easily drag and drop those into combat. You can also choose from random encounters built within those programs, and you have an easy reference to both the monster manual as well as the DM guide. So one of the easiest ways to use Fantasy Grounds is to purchase an existing module in the rule set in which you are playing. In this case, Wizards of the Coast. Everything from Descent into Avernus to the Tales from the Yawning Portal, the Curse of Strahd, the Beginning Lost Mine of Phandelver, anything that D&D has come out with so far should be available, or most of them are available, on the Fantasy Grounds website. Running one of these programs is very easy. The maps are built in, the NPCs are built in, they have everything linked the way that it should be. I might do a more in-depth tutorial on some of the modules at some point in time, but I might have to save that for another video. These are the same as the D&D adventures in the books, just in digital form. Okay, now that I've explained a little bit about the Fantasy Grounds website and some of the options available, let's head on over to the program. The current screen I have up is just the background in the homebrew campaign that I've been running. It's a nautical theme, so I thought that this was appropriate. You can actually change these backgrounds from a number of options provided to you depending on what type of modules you own and some of the other things that come along with Fantasy Grounds. Another one of the tools that Fantasy Grounds has on hand is the integrated map-making software. Within the software, you can build maps custom based on the assets that you have available. Again, if you buy the Ultimate package, it comes with a lot of these asset packs with wall building to actually just dungeon tile building, which is what I did with this sewer system here. I purchased my own map asset pack system online. I imported it into Fantasy Grounds, and I was able to use it in tile form to make a map, including all of these extra add-ons here. I was able to just drag and drop. I actually have a time-lapse video of that available, linked here in the description if you want to take a look at that. It does have Fog of War and Line of Sight available, just like most other programs do. You can see here as my character turns the corner, the view changes. So one of the awesome things about Fantasy Grounds is the ease and ability to drag and drop an encounter into the combat tracker and very quickly have your team fighting against something that you came up with on the spot or rolled for in a random encounter table. So some of the encounters I have listed here, I actually built. You can see it says Chapter 8 there. I built these in. So we're going to go to the sewer shark encounter, in which I have 4 sewer sharks. These sewer sharks themselves, I created out of an existing stat block and imported my own token for them to make it a little bit more unique to the adventure. But let's say that I wanted to add these to the fight and drag and drop them into the location. Actually, in fact, let's say that the party was going to encounter them where they did a little bit earlier. So here's the sewer shark encounter. I have it pinned to the map. And if I hit the down arrow, add encounter to combat tracker, this is going to drop all of those sewer sharks into the combat tracker, automatically roll their initiative order, and start them off as invisible. Obviously, you can show your NPCs, and it's as easy as that. You're dropping these directly into your combat tracker. It auto rolls initiative order, and you have the stat blocks of all of those readily available. It randomly numbers them, gives them I actually have the program roll random hit points rather than the same hit points every time. I have it roll for their hit points, so each of them is a little bit different. And quickly at your hands are their attacks that you can drag and drop directly onto the characters, or you can throw into the box. But this program makes it extremely easy for you to just drag and drop new characters, new encounters, random encounters directly into the combat tracker and have your group fighting immediately. The best thing about this program is how easy it makes it on the DM for you to remember what is going on with your other characters. Everything from the effects that are on them right now, such as one of my characters being invisible. I can see that he's invisible. It's constantly visible there in my tracker. It even has a small box here that shows that he's invisible. It shows if somebody is concentrating on a spell. It can auto roll concentration on that spell if somebody attacks it. That way you never forget when somebody has to roll their concentration to keep their spell upheld. The other thing it does, and does very well, is it does the math for you. Not that I don't like math, because I definitely love math and I have no problem with numbers. But if I roll to hit one of the characters here, it's going to tell me down there that the attack was a miss against his AC. If I were to crit, see how long it takes me to get a crit. Oh, that was close. Finally. Okay. All right. See, the Sahaugen here, Sahaugen 39, had a critical hit against Pristopal Valbaros. So now if I roll the damage and I drag and drop it onto Pristopal, you can also target that person. It will automatically roll the crit dice for me. It doubles up those dice. If you have any other effect on you that rolls extra damage, that rolls extra dice, that gives you disadvantages, that gives you advantage, it will factor that in. So you don't have to add up and remember everything that you're doing. So you get the true number that was built into the 5e program to begin with. Now, I know that we all as GMs are not always exact, and that's some of the fun of D&D. I still make those changes if I need to. But the great thing about this program is it does all of these things for you. You can also give yourself advantage, disadvantage, add a quick modifier down here on the bottom left side. Hopefully I can zoom in and you can see that a little bit better. But it does all of these things for you. Let's say I'm going to be doing a spell, and there's going to be a lasting effect from that spell. I should probably open up my wizard here. Alma. Okay, so charm person. So let's say Alma is going to try to charm the Sahaugen. Alma can target the Sahaugen. So now that he has the Sahaugen targeted, he can roll the save for the creature, which is great. It rolls it based off of the Sahaugen's character sheet. The Sahaugen obviously failed this wisdom save, not being smart enough to figure out what's going on. So the Sahaugen is effectively charmed. So the character or the PC can then click the effect, and that effect gets put on to the character. But let's say somebody was blessed. So let's say Pristopal, the paladin, decided to bless a few others around him. He can target all three of them, click the effect, and that adds each of these effects to them. So now if my fighter moves up to the enemy, targets it, and rolls one of his attacks, let's just say he does his Watchful Warhammer. There's at a +9 right now. He rolls his attack. It's going to automatically add that blessed dice to his attack roll. But there is so much more than just what I'm explaining here. But the point is, it does the math for you, and it helps so you don't forget what effects are on people at a certain time, and it helps you play the game better. I'm just not sure there are many other tabletop RPG programs out there that have this kind of versatility. Finally, the last thing I want to talk about as far as what this program is capable of doing is the idea of creating a homebrew for this system is not as daunting as it could be if you were just to do it without the system altogether. The organization method that is available for this program is incredible. So this is a campaign that I created from scratch. And here are my story lists. So under here, I have them listed out. I started with a 0.0. You can obviously name these in any way that helps you organize them. But I started out with 0, where I have my campaign synopsis, where it talks about the treaty, the adventure hook, nations and races, the races that are there available to choose from. It talks about the locations, the chief imports and exports of every city. Obviously, I've done a ton of work here, but this is all nice and very organized, and this is a complete homebrew. So let's go past my introductions here. And let's go into one of the first chapters. So in this first chapter I have the intro text that I can just click and it will drop into the chat. You find yourselves at the harbor, multiple ships move in and out, etc., etc. I have a link to the setting, the grayfish sitting there in the harbor. I have some of the characters available, ready to go, so it gives them an idea of who they're talking to. I have some notes for myself as to how these people speak. So these story records can be incredibly helpful for you to build a custom campaign and a homebrew of your own. Another thing that's wonderful about these homebrew campaigns or custom encounters is I have a random encounter table here that I built for the fact that this is a seafaring campaign. So I can make a roll and it's going to come up with a Sahaugen attack that I have put together. So if I open this up and we are on the main deck and I click add encounter to combat tracker, it's going to drop all of these onto the map where I had them previously located, and we can get on with our battle. There are random encounter tables available for you, everything from some quick buttons that I have down here for naming random NPCs. I just have gnome male. I could just roll it and it comes up with a name for me, or gnome female, or food, drink, and lodging. All of this readily available for myself. A random tavern name generator, so I can roll the random tavern name. And we come up with the Gleaming Dog. And the Gleaming Dog is known for its decadence. In this particular program, you get to roll virtual dice rather than just enter in a command into a chat and it spits out a number. They just added more dice customization, actually. They have an incredible support team on Discord and their forum online. And there's so much more that we're not even gracing the surface of in this video. So I've talked a lot about the benefits of Fantasy Grounds and why you would use a program like this. So let's talk about some of the drawbacks. Obviously, with everything that I've put into here, there is a learning curve to use the program. It takes some self-education, some tutorial videos. I will admit, for a very long time, there were not many tutorial videos to be had. They are getting better with that. There are more coming out by the week. I'm hoping to maybe do some at some point in time. But it does take a lot of self-education to run this program. The good thing is there is a guide online that can help you with just about everything. And again, there's a great Discord and forum where you can pop in, ask a question, and usually Trenlo or Zacchaeus are going to answer you pretty quickly. Next up, one of the drawbacks is it is a local software program with local files. So it must be run from the computer where the files exist. There is a way to transfer those files, but it can be a little risky if you don't do it correctly. So this is not a web-based program like Roll20. The map-making software itself, again, takes some self-education and some messing around with to get it figured out. I'm hoping they come up with better tutorial videos as to how to use the map-making software eventually. And finally, they have a small developer team. Now, this is a benefit and a hindrance. In my opinion, it's more of a benefit than anything because it means you can get to who you need to talk to quicker, and you have a group of people that really, really care about what they're doing. So is Fantasy Grounds worth it in 2022? In my opinion, yes. I am a little biased because I have been using this program for a long time, but I love it. I know that Roll20 is a very good program. I have played on it many times. I enjoy it. I know that they're coming up with more and more that you can do with Roll20. In fact, Roll20 is probably implementing some of the features that Fantasy Grounds has available now into what their software is, their web-based software. But it's taken a little bit of time for them to get to that point. One of the things that Roll20 did better, faster, was their map making and map creation software with Fog of War and Line of Sight. They did that better, faster. The implementation of Fantasy Grounds Unity brought more features to Fantasy Grounds that were lacking, and frankly, some of those that Roll20 had, but Fantasy Grounds didn't. Fantasy Grounds didn't. Essentially, they're both catching up with each other in a different way. It's really up to your play style and how you want to play. But in my opinion, Fantasy Grounds Unity is one of the top virtual tabletop softwares out there, and it's definitely worth the buy. But hey, thanks for watching out there. If you do decide to pick up Fantasy Grounds, make sure that you click that link in my description. It does lead to an affiliate section of the website in which it will help me make these videos better for you in the future. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see more of. If you'd like me to do tutorial videos on any particular section of Fantasy Grounds, I'll try to do the best that I can. I'm not 100% an expert in this either. Let me know what else you would like to see. Thanks for watching, everybody. If Feel free to hit that like or subscribe button if you enjoyed what you were watching, and hopefully I can make some more of these videos for you. Until then, happy gaming.